Well, this doesn't feel right, does it? Let's change it up a bit. That's better. Ah, sleep. It is wonderful, but it is also elusive. And you will understand this if you have ever spent several hours staring at the ceiling, just begging your brain to switch off for a few hours. So here are some ways that you can get better sleep. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura, and after my home office, this is probably my favorite space in our home. So much good stuff happens here. Get your head out of the gutter. Reading, relaxing, and sleeping. Now, if you are a vampire like me, you come alive at night, but for some reason, jobs and kids do not seem to respect our natural night owl tendencies. And it was only when the poor sheep went on strike that I finally, slowly but surely, started making some adjustments. Now, knowing that I couldn't necessarily get more sleep, I focused on getting better sleep. Here are the things that worked for me. But let me just throw in a little caveat first. If chronic tiredness is an issue for you, then speak to your doctor, because he or she will be able to help you in ways that I cannot. Okay, you know what? Let's get comfortable here. Grab one of these. Okay, one of the hardest things for me, and I'm telling you this at the outset so that we can get it out of the way and then move on to easier things, it was setting my alarm for a little bit earlier every morning. Yes, it was hell the first few days, but after about 5-ish days, my body started to adjust to it, and I'd started to realize, hey, we're getting up earlier every morning now. We're not getting those kind of like dozy sleep hours in the morning, you know, where you're kind of like napping or pushing the snooze button or whatever. So what happened was that I started to feel sleepy earlier in the night, so that come 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever it was, I was actually tired and therefore able to fall asleep much quicker. So setting your alarm that little bit earlier in the morning and just getting up and getting out of bed, yes, it will be tough for the first few days, but you will start to notice then that come the evening time, come nighttime, you are actually wanting to sleep. Your body is ready to sleep. Okay, now this next one is going to sound so obvious, but stick with me. You're probably going to be rolling your eyes, but are you actually tired? Have you actually depleted your batteries throughout the day? Because if you have just been like sitting around doing nothing, maybe staring at a screen for most of the day, then naturally you're actually going to be feeling lethargic and just kind of numb, or just have that like dull, lazy feeling, rather than actually being tired, you know, rather than actually having done something that has worn you out. That was my arm cracking. Basically what you have done is you have put your body into energy saving mode. It's in like power saving mode. It's just gone into this kind of like half sleep, half days, but you haven't actually done anything to, you know, deplete your batteries. So something that I like to do, even if I've had one of those lazy days, and those days are fine, I'm not saying you have to spend every single day like running and racing around, but what I like to do on those days is after dinner, I like to try and do something that will wear me out a little bit. So I might do some laundry or just clean up the kitchen. I might go for a walk. I might talk to my daughter. That girl asks like a million questions a minute. Talking to her is wonderful, but it's like mental gymnastics. Yeah, it can be exhausting, but also like planning out the next day. So sitting down, writing down a to-do list for yourself, picking out your clothes, packing your lunch, writing a meal plan or whatever it may be, something that is just designed to get you to do something, to concentrate on something, or to use up some energy, physical and or mental. Something that I like to ask myself that can really help here is, what can I do today? What can I do right now that will make tomorrow easier. So I might get a start on something that I was planning to start the next day, or like that, just planning the day, setting out my outfits, getting my meals planned and prepped, little things like that, waking up to a clean kitchen. So just having something, even if you have a lazy day, doing something in the evening that will wear down your batteries a little bit. Okay, let's head over here to the bathroom because I have a really simple tip for you next that works wonders for me. Let's go. Ta-da! Getting ready and brushing your teeth a little bit earlier in the evening can really have a huge impact. It means that as soon as you feel tired, you can actually go straight to bed and straight to sleep. Because something that used to happen to me all the time was that I would feel tired, would be really exhausted, would get up and start getting ready for bed, brush my teeth, put my pajamas on, all of that sort of stuff, and then be wide awake. And again, it's because I wasn't running my batteries down, but my body, even though it felt tired throughout the day, as soon as I went to get ready for bed and as soon as I started moving around, my body was like, oh, okay, it's go time, like wake up, time to do things. So then I would go to bed and just lie awake. So now what I try to do is finish up eating a little bit earlier in the evening, so after dessert or after your last meal of the day. Then go, when you know that you're not going to be eating anymore, go get ready for bed, go brush your teeth, so that when you do feel tired, maybe you sit down and you watch a film or a TV show or something like that, as soon as you feel tired, you can go straight to bed. Speaking of going straight to bed, shall we? Okay, so you've got up earlier, you have depleted your batteries, you have, got yourself ready. Now it's time to actually go to bed. And what I would say here is try and get yourself into bed a little bit earlier. Allow yourself time to acclimatize and wind down. If you jump into bed and expect yourself to fall asleep immediately, that's probably not going to happen, and you're going to get into that cycle of like, why aren't I falling asleep? I should be asleep by now, and that's what keeps you awake, right? So if you give yourself just a little bit of time, maybe half an hour, don't be in bed like too long, otherwise you won't associate bed with sleep. You will associate bed with just lying there. But get yourself into bed a little bit earlier maybe than you plan on actually going asleep, so that your body has time to unwind and to relax and to realize, now it's time for switching off. Okay, now at this stage, I would basically be a massive hypocrite if I told you not to look at your phone or any sort of device at night, because look, I do it myself. But what I will say is to try and switch it to night mode. I think most phones have this setting on them these days, where basically you can switch from the blue harsh light to a more mellow yellow light, and that it doesn't wake you up. Like, that blue light is harsh and it mimics daylight, and so it can tell your brain, that it's still bright outside, which can make it harder for you to fall asleep. So do try and switch it to that yellow light, maybe turn down the brightness, things like that will just kind of make it a little bit more soothing for you. And then kind of leading on from that, try not to do anything stimulating on your phone. So something that I found used to kind of keep me awake, I used to get all wound up scrolling through my Twitter feed. So if you are looking at things on your phone, and like I said, if you can avoid it, do, but I would be a hypocrite if I told you to. Try and keep away from those stimulating things. Like if you've got a game that you play that's very like high energy and you have to move really fast and do things like that, again, is just going to get your brain racing and your heart rate up and stuff like that. It's not going to lead to those nice, peaceful, calm, slow feelings that you want. So if you are going to be looking at your phone, try and keep it to something nice and relaxing, maybe a nice soothing article that you want to read. Maybe it's something, a nice calming, quiet game, something like that. And then another thing that I will say is try not to make it the very last thing you do at night. So if you are going to be looking at your phone in bed, try and make it so that it is the first thing that you do when you first hop into bed, so that you kind of get it out of the way and then move on to something that is going to be much more relaxing for you and really gets you into that kind of sleep ready state. So let's talk about that now. Grab this back here. Okay, then you want to choose an activity that basically focuses your mind preferably not your phone. Try and put that away now. For me, it's reading. For you, it might be journaling or something like that. Because I don't know about you, but like at this time, my brain likes to see this as some sort of challenge. It likes to think, how many things can I think about right now? How many ideas can I have right now? Oh, I know. Let's go through like this big, long mental inventory of every embarrassing thing that Laura has ever said or done. Pick one thing that is really going to give your brain that singular focus that it needs, and that through focusing on one thing, you can be, again, depleting kind of your mental batteries and just winding down, getting your brain kind of slower, calmer, quieter, until eventually it feels that it is ready to fall asleep. And then, because some of my best ideas do come to me at night, or I think of that perfect thing that I should have said when I was having that argument with my husband, or because my brain does like to remind me of those 11 bajillion things that I want to do, I try and keep a pen and paper by my bed. And that way that, anytime those thoughts or ideas pop into my head, or that perfect thing that I should have said, that I will remember for next time, that perfect comeback, I can write it down and just get it out of my head so that it's not trapped up there shouting at me, like reminding me, or just running around up there. Because your brain is doing it for good reasons, okay? It's trying to remind you, it's like, oh, don't forget about this thing, don't forget about this other thing. And it's, it has good intentions. But if you put it down on paper, basically what you're doing is reassuring your brain that, yes, you're going to take care of this. Now is not the time to do it. But it is written down, you're not going to forget it, so your brain can actually think, whew, okay, she's got this under control. We can take care of this. And then your brain can feel, peaceful enough and calm enough and relaxed enough and at ease enough to actually fall asleep. Okay, so if at this stage your brain still does not want to play fair, it just does not want to play ball with you. It wants to run off in a million different directions and think of a million different tasks and all of these things. It just does not want to focus. It does not want to go to sleep. It's not ready. I am going to teach you 2 strategies that work wonders for me. These get me results every time, and I try to save them. These are my big guns. I only pull them out when I really need them, because I feel like if I overuse them, if I use them too much, they're just going to lose their efficacy and they're not going to work as much for me. So the first one this is probably the one that I use most regularly, and it is to do a little kind of rundown of my day, and then do a rundown of how I envision the next day to go. So basically I will mentally picture exactly how my day went, step by step. Every single little thing I did, I will just replay the whole thing in my head, literally like minute by minute. It is a very detailed rundown of my day. Usually I don't even get to the end of the day. Like by that stage, my brain is just like, yeah, okay, I'm bored enough to go sleep now. But if I do get to the end of the day, then what I will do is try and imagine what the next day will look like. I will try and kind of narrate it. I'll rehearse the whole thing in my head. So that is strategy number 1. Trust me, your brain will knock out. The second one then, this is the one that I use less often. This is kind of like my in case of emergency, last resort strategy. And that is to basically, it sounds strange, okay? If my brain feels like it does not want to fall asleep at all, and I have been lying there for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, not getting any sleep, then what I will tell my brain is, fine, we are going to stay awake all night long. We are going to lie here, and that's it. We're going to lie here, eyes closed. We're not going to do anything, but we can think whatever thoughts, you do what you want, brain, but we are going to be awake all night. And I don't know what it is, but as soon as I tell my brain that, it's like, oh no, fuck this, I'm out here. I'm done. Because it's that resistance sometimes is what keeps us awake. And I feel like sometimes if you just say, okay, I'm just going to go with it, I'm going to stay awake all night, then your brain is like, oh, well, this isn't any fun anymore if you're not going to resist me or fight me in any way. So Those are my top 2 strategies. Now, finally, before I go, if you are looking for ways that you can keep your energy levels up throughout the day, then you are going to want to click here and watch this video. And until then, Correv Mila Mahagrev, agus feki me shif shiglua. Ihawa. Okay, if you stuck through to the very end to hear that kind of alternative Gaelic ending that I just did, comment below, because you are a star. You stuck here to the very end. I want to know that you heard that little slightly different ending. Night.